The listening station floated alone in the darkness of space. It was old and small, built near the edge of the Voral Nebula, where no one ever went. Officer Dren sat at his console, bored and tired. He had worked at this station for 12 years, and nothing interesting had ever happened. The deep space was always quiet, always empty. Then his screen lit up with red warnings. Dren sat up straight. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he tried to understand what he was seeing. The sensors showed movement. Not 1 ship. Not 10 ships. 400 ships were coming out of the darkness beyond the outer rim. This was impossible. Nothing lived beyond the outer rim. The Council had checked. The Council knew everything about the galaxy. But the ships kept coming. Dren's hand shook as he sent the emergency signal to the Galactic Council headquarters. Within minutes, every major government in the known galaxy received the same message. An unknown fleet had appeared from nowhere. It was heading toward Council space. The Council chambers on the planet Dessar filled quickly. Representatives from 12 different species gathered in the great holographic hall. Their images flickered and buzzed as they spoke over each other in panic. Ambassador Torvax of the Alari Dominion raised his 6 arms to demand silence. He was a tall creature with blue skin and a face that showed no emotion. But today even he looked worried. "We must remain calm," Torvax said. "Our analysts are studying the fleet now. We will know who they are soon." 400 warships do not appear from empty space, hissed Representative Vreth. She was an insectoid, her body covered in hard black shell. Her species was known for being aggressive and direct. Someone has been hiding. Someone has been building. We must destroy them before they destroy us. "We do not yet know if they are hostile," replied Counselor Yenix. She was an Oron, species of telepaths who lived for thousands of years. Her body was thin and fragile, her skin almost transparent, but her mind was the sharpest in the Council. She had seen empires rise and fall. She had seen things the younger species could not imagine. The argument continued for hours. Some wanted to attack immediately. Others wanted to wait and observe. A few suggested trying to communicate. But no one could agree on anything. Then the signal came. A communication officer rushed into the chamber, her face pale with shock. "We have received a transmission from the unknown fleet," she announced. It is in an old language. A dead language." "What language?" Torvax demanded. The officer swallowed hard. "Earth Standard." The chamber went completely silent. Even Representative Vreth stopped moving. Every being in the room knew that name. Earth, the Forbidden World, the quarantined planet. The species that had refused to join the Council 800 years ago. Humans. Councolor. Yenix closed her ancient eyes. She remembered. She was one of the few beings still alive who remembered the first contact with humanity. She remembered the fear. She remembered the violence. She remembered the desperate decision the Council had made. "Play the transmission," she said quietly. The holographic projectors activated. A human face appeared in the center of the chamber. He was a male, middle-aged, with short dark hair and cold eyes. He wore a military uniform that none of them recognized. Behind him, they could see the bridge of a massive warship filled with other humans working at their stations. "This is Admiral Kong Taehook," the human said. His voice was calm and steady. "Commander of the Reclamation Fleet, we request formal dialogue with the Galactic Council. Please respond within 1 standard day." The transmission ended. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, Representative Vreth broke the silence. "Reclamation," she repeated. "They called it the Reclamation Fleet. They have come to take something back. We must strike first. We must destroy them while we still can." "With what?" asked a small representative from the Keth species. "Our combined military has 300 ships in this sector. They have 400, and we know nothing about their weapons or defenses." "We know about humans," Vreth replied. "We know they are dangerous. We know they refuse the protocol. We know what they did 800 years ago. Ambassador Torvax turned to Counselor Yenix. You were there, he said. You saw the first contact? Tell us what happened. Tell us why we should be afraid. Yenix opened her eyes. They were filled with old memories and old pain. The records are classified, she said. They have been hidden for 8 centuries. Most of you have never seen them. Most of you were told that humans were simply a primitive species who chose isolation. That is not the truth. She waved her thin hand, and the holographic display changed. Old footage appeared, grainy and damaged by time. It showed space battles. Council ships firing at small, ugly human vessels. The human ships were clearly inferior. They were slower, smaller, less advanced. They should have been destroyed in minutes, but they were not destroyed. The footage showed human pilots performing impossible maneuvers. It showed human engineers modifying their weapons in the middle of battle. It showed human commanders making decisions so fast that the Council's tactical computers could not predict them. One by one, the Council's ships exploded. 47 warships, destroyed by a single human battle group. The battle lasted 11 hours, Yenix said. We lost 47 ships. They lost 12. Their technology was 2 centuries behind ours. It did not matter. They fought like nothing we had ever seen. The chamber was silent. We offered them the Ascension Protocol after that battle, Yenix continued. We told them it was for their own good. We told them it would bring them peace. But the protocol was not for their benefit. It was for ours. We wanted to remove their aggression, their creativity, their fire. We wanted to make them safe. They refused. So we quarantined them, Torvax said slowly. We locked them away. Yes. Yenix looked at the frozen image of Admiral Kong Tae-hyuk. We thought they would die out there in the darkness. We thought they would fade away and be forgotten. We were wrong. They survived. They grew. And now they have returned. Representative Vreth made a sound like breaking glass. It was the insectoid way of expressing fear. What do they want? Counselor Yenix shook her head slowly. I do not know. But I know this much. Whatever happens next, the galaxy will never be the same. The emergency session continued through the night. Representatives argued and shouted and threatened each other. Some species wanted war. Others wanted surrender. A few wanted to pretend the human fleet did not exist and hope it would go away. But Counselor Yenix knew that none of these options would work. She had seen human determination before. Once humans decided to do something, they did not stop. High Arbiter Malox finally took control of the meeting. He was a Gorith, a massive creature made of living stone. His species was ancient and powerful, and they had helped build the Council thousands of years ago. When Malox spoke, others listened. We have one standard day to respond, Malox said, his voice like grinding rocks. We must decide what to do. I say we mobilize every fleet in the galaxy. If the humans want war, we will give them war. That is foolish, said Counselor Yenix. You saw the old footage. You saw what they did with inferior technology. 800 years have passed. Do you think they have been sitting in the darkness doing nothing? They have been preparing. They have been building. They have been waiting for this moment, and what do you suggest? Malox demanded. Should we surrender? Should we give them whatever they want? I suggest we talk to them first, Yenix replied. We should learn what they want before we start a war we cannot win. Representative Vreth clicked her mandibles in anger. You are a coward, old one. Your species has always been weak. You hide behind your telepathy and your long lives, but you have no strength. The Vreth do not fear these humans. We will crush them. Your species joined the Council 400 years ago, Yenix said calmly. You have never seen real war. You have never faced an enemy that could actually hurt you. The humans are not like the small empires you conquered in your early history. They are something different, something dangerous. The argument went on, but slowly the Council began to accept that they needed more information. They could not fight an enemy they did not understand. They decided to send a diplomatic team to the human fleet. They would offer negotiation. They would try to learn what the humans wanted. Ambassador Torvax volunteered to lead the mission. He was considered the best negotiator in the council. He had ended wars with words alone. He had convinced hostile species to join the council peacefully. He believed he could handle a few humans. Before he left, Counselor Yenix came to see him privately. Her old body moved slowly, but her mind was still sharp. She placed a thin hand on his arm. "Careful," she said. "Do not underestimate them. The records I showed in the chamber were not complete. There are things I did not share. Things that would cause panic." Torvax looked at her with surprise. "What do you mean?" Yenix's transparent skin seemed to grow even paler. "During the first contact, we did not just send one fleet. We sent 3. The first fleet was destroyed in 11 hours. The second fleet was destroyed in 6. By the third battle, we had learned nothing. They adapted faster than we could. They learned our tactics and turned them against us. Their commander, Kong Sung-ho, was a genius, unlike anything we had ever seen." Kong Sung-ho, Torvax repeated. "The admiral of this new fleet is named Kong Tae-hook. Is there a connection?" "Almost certainly," Yenix said. "Humans pass down knowledge through families. If this admiral is descended from Sung-ho, he will have inherited not just his name, but his skills, perhaps even improved upon them." Torvax felt a cold fear spreading through his body. Why did we not simply destroy Earth? We had the power. We could have ended the threat. Yenix shook her head sadly. "We tried. After the third battle, the Council voted to destroy the human homeworld. We sent a planet-killer weapon, the most powerful device ever created. It should have worked. What happened? The humans stopped it." Yenix's voice was barely a whisper. "They captured the weapon in space, took it apart, and studied it. Then they sent us a message. They said if we ever tried again, they would send the weapon back. With improvements." Torvax stared at her in horror. "That is impossible. That weapon was built by the greatest engineers in Council history. No primitive species could understand it." "That is what we believed," Yenix agreed. "That is why we chose quarantine instead of war. We realized that fighting humans only made them stronger. Every attack taught them something new. Every weapon we used became a weapon they could use against us. We decided that the only safe option was to leave them alone and hope they would never find us again. But they did find us." "Yes, they found us." Yenix released his arm. "Go to them, Ambassador. Talk to them. Find out what they want. But remember this, humans do not think like us. They do not value the same things we value. They are unpredictable, creative, and stubborn. Do not try to trick them. Do not try to threaten them. Just listen." Torvax nodded slowly. He understood now why the old counselor had been so quiet during the debates. She knew things that would terrify the others. She had seen the true power of humanity and had spent 800 years. Hoping she would never see it again, the diplomatic shuttle launched from Thisser and headed toward the human fleet. Torvax sat alone in his cabin, reviewing everything the council knew about humans. It was not much. Most of the records had been destroyed or hidden. The council had wanted to forget about the embarrassing defeat. They had wanted to pretend that humans had never existed. Now that forgotten enemy had returned with 400 warships, and Torvax was going to meet them alone. As his shuttle approached the human fleet, Torvax looked out the window at the massive vessels. They were not beautiful like council ships. They were ugly and angular, covered with weapons and armor. They looked like they had been built for one purpose only: war. A human voice came through the communications system. "Council shuttle, you are cleared to dock with the flagship. Follow the guide lights. Do not deviate from the assigned path. Welcome to the Haniel's Wrath." Torvax took a deep breath. In all his years of diplomacy, he had never felt so afraid. But he was the Council's best hope. He had to succeed. The fate of the galaxy depended on what happened next. The shuttle entered the docking bay, and the doors closed behind it like the jaws of a great beast. There was no turning back now. Ambassador Torvax stepped out of his shuttle and into the human ship. The docking bay was huge, filled with smaller craft and busy workers. Everywhere he looked, humans were moving, talking, carrying equipment. They did not stop to stare at him. They barely seemed to notice him at all. This surprised Torvax. When council ambassadors visited other species, they were usually treated with great respect and ceremony. Here, he was just another visitor. A young human female approached him. She wore a simple military uniform and carried a tablet in her hands. Her face was calm and professional. "Ambassador Torvax," she said. "I am Lieutenant Bora. I will take you to Admiral Kang. Please, follow me." Torvax followed her through the corridors of the ship. Everything was clean and efficient. The walls were gray metal. The floors were solid and plain. There were no decorations, no art, no symbols of wealth or power. The ship was built for function, not beauty. As they walked, Torvax tried to count the humans he saw. There were thousands of them, men and women of all ages, working together with quiet determination. Some nodded at Lieutenant Bora as she passed. A few glanced at Torvax with curiosity, but no one showed fear. No one showed anger. They simply went about their work. "Your ship is impressive," Torvax said, trying to make conversation. "How long did it take to build?" Lieutenant Bora smiled slightly. "The Hanyul's Wrath took 12 years to construct. It is the flagship of our fleet. Admiral Kang designed much of it himself." "The Admiral is an engineer as well as a commander?" "The Admiral is many things," Bora replied. "All our officers are trained in multiple skills. We cannot afford to specialize the way your council species do. When you have limited resources, everyone must know how to do everything." They reached a large door at the end of a corridor. 2 guards stood on either side, armed with weapons that Torvax did not recognize. The guards checked his identity and scanned him for hidden devices. Then the door opened, and Torvax entered the command room. Admiral Kantayuk stood at the center of the room, studying a holographic map of the galaxy. He was exactly as he had appeared in the transmission, middle-aged with short dark hair and cold eyes. But in person, he seemed larger somehow, more solid, more real. He radiated a quiet power that made Torvax uncomfortable. 2 other humans stood beside the Admiral. One was a tall female with long black hair tied back in a simple style. Her eyes were sharp and watchful. The other was a smaller male with thin glasses and a gentle face. He looked more like a scholar than a soldier. "Ambassador Torvax," the Admiral said, turning to face him. "Thank you for coming. I am Kang Taihuk. This is Captain Yuna, my second in command. And this is Dr. Minho, our chief strategist." Torvax bowed in the formal council style. "Admiral Kang, the Galactic Council has sent me to negotiate. We wish to understand your intentions and find a peaceful solution." The Admiral studied him for a long moment. Then he gestured to a chair. "Please sit, Ambassador. We have much to discuss." Torvax sat down carefully. The chair was designed for human bodies and did not quite fit his frame, but he made do. The Admiral sat across from him. Captain Yuna and Dr. Minho remained standing, watching. "I will be direct with you," the Admiral said. "Humans do not like to waste time with games and ceremonies. We came here for a reason. We have demands. And we expect the Council to meet those demands." "What are your demands?" Torvax asked. "First, the immediate end of the Ascension Protocol. Every species in the galaxy must be given the choice to accept or reject genetic modification. Those who are modified against their will must be offered restoration." Torvax felt his heart sink. The Ascension Protocol was the foundation of Council peace. For 3,000 years it had kept the galaxy stable. Every new species that joined the Council was required to accept the modification. It removed their aggressive instincts and made them cooperative. Without it, the Council believed there would be constant war. "That is impossible," Torvax said. "The protocol is essential to galactic peace. Without it, species would fight each other constantly. Civilization would collapse." Admiral Kang's eyes grew even colder. "The protocol does not create peace. It creates slavery. You take away the ability to fight, and you call it peace. But real peace is not the absence of conflict. Real peace is the choice not to fight when you could. You have stolen that choice from every species in your council." "That is not true," Torvax protested. "The modified species are happy. They live in harmony. They do not suffer from war or violence. They do not suffer because they cannot feel, Captain Una said. Her voice was sharp. I have studied your council species, the Ilari, the Gorith, the Vareth. Before they joined the council, they had art, music, passion, dreams. Now they have nothing but obedience. You have not saved them. You have hollowed them out. Torvax wanted to argue, but something stopped him. He thought about his own people, the Ilari. They had been warriors once, long ago. They had built great empires and fought great battles. Now they were diplomats and administrators. They were calm and rational. They never got angry. They never felt strong emotions. Was that truly peace? Or was it something else? What is your second demand? Torvax asked quietly. Dr. Minho stepped forward. His gentle face was serious. We will explain that shortly. But first, we need to show you something. Something the Council does not know about. Something that changes everything. He activated a holographic display. A star map appeared, showing the entire galaxy. But there was something strange about it. In the far reaches, beyond the known borders, there were red marks. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. Moving slowly but steadily toward Council space. What is that? Torvax asked, feeling a new kind of fear. Admiral Kang looked at the map with grim eyes. That ambassador is why we came back. That is the reason we ended our isolation. That is the threat that will destroy your council and everyone in it, unless we work together. He turned to face Torvax directly. We call it the Devourer Swarm, and it is coming. Ambassador Torvax stared at the holographic map. The red marks kept moving, slowly but steadily, like a spreading disease. He had never seen anything like it. In all his years of service to the Council, no one had ever mentioned a threat from beyond the known borders. Tell me everything, he said. Dr. Minho adjusted his glasses and began to explain. His voice was calm and clear, like a teacher speaking to a student. 50 years ago, we sent exploration probes into deep space. We wanted to learn what existed beyond the regions that the Council had mapped. Most of the probes found nothing. Empty space. Dead worlds. But one probe found something different. He changed the display. An image appeared of strange shapes floating through the darkness. They were not ships. They were alive. Massive creatures, each one larger than a city, with bodies that seemed to be made of metal and flesh combined. They moved through space like fish swimming through water, eating everything in their path. The Devourer Swarm, Dr. Minho continued. A species of living ships. They travel from galaxy to galaxy, consuming all resources they find. Planets, stars, entire civilizations. Nothing is left behind. They strip everything to the bare atoms and use it to create more of themselves. Impossible, Torvax whispered. Such a species cannot exist. The energy requirements alone would be unbelievable. We thought the same thing at first, Admiral Kang said. But our probes recorded them for 20 years before we lost contact. They are real. They are coming. And based on our calculations, they will reach Council space in approximately 40 years. Torvax felt his body grow cold. 40 years was nothing. 40 years was barely enough time to train a new generation of soldiers. If this threat was real, the Council had almost no time to prepare. Why has the Council not detected them? He asked. We have sensors throughout the galaxy. We monitor everything. Captain Una made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your Council sensors are designed to detect civilized species, ships with engines, planets with cities, electromagnetic communications. The swarm produces none of these things. They are biological. They communicate through methods we do not fully understand. Your sensors cannot see them because your sensors were not built to look for them. But human sensors could. We built new sensors specifically to track them, Dr. Minho said. After we discovered them, we spent 30 years developing technology to monitor their movement. We know exactly where they are and where they are going. They will enter Council space through the Voral sector first. From there, they will spread in all directions. Torvax looked at the map again. The Voral sector was on the edge of Council space. It was home to 3 inhabited worlds and billions of citizens. If the swarm attacked there first, those citizens would be the first to die. "Why are you telling us this?" he asked. "You could have let the swarm destroy us. You could have watched from safety while your old enemies were eliminated." Admiral Kong walked to the window and looked out at the stars. His reflection showed a tired face, a man who had carried a heavy burden for a long time. "My great-great-grandfather was Kong Sung-ho," he said. "The commander who fought your council during the first contact. He was a great warrior. He won every battle. But he told my family something that we have never forgotten. He said that true strength is not measured by how many enemies you destroy. It is measured by how many lives you protect." He turned back to face Torvax. "Humanity could survive the swarm alone. Our technology is advanced. Our population is large. We could hide in the deep spaces and let the swarm pass us by. But if we did that, trillions of lives would be lost. Species that have existed for millions of years would be wiped out forever. We could not allow that. You came to save us?" Torvax could not believe what he was hearing. "After what the Council did to you? After the quarantine? After we tried to destroy your planet? We are not doing this for the Council," Captain Yuna said. "We are doing this for the ordinary people who live under Council rule. They did not choose to be modified. They did not choose to have their fire taken away. They are victims, just like we would have been if we had accepted the protocol. We will not abandon victims." Torvax sat in silence for a long moment. He thought about everything he had learned today. The swarm. The protocol. The humans who had every reason to hate the Council, but had come to help anyway. His entire understanding of the galaxy was changing. "What do you want from us?" he asked finally. "You said you have demands." The end of the protocol was the first. "What else?" Admiral Kang sat down across from him again. "We want an alliance. A real alliance between equals. Humanity will share our technology. We will train your people to fight. We will help you prepare for the swarm, but in return you must give up the protocol forever. Every species must be free to be what they truly are. And if the Council refuses, then we will fight the swarm alone." The Admiral's voice was hard. "And when your worlds are burning, do not call to us for help. We offered you a choice. If you choose wrong, you will face the consequences." Torvax stood up slowly. His legs felt weak. "I must return to the Council. I must tell them everything you have shown me. This decision is too big for me to make alone." Admiral King nodded. "We understand. We will wait for your answer. But do not take too long, Ambassador. Every day we wait is a day we lose for preparation. The swarm does not stop. The swarm does not negotiate. The swarm only consumes." Lieutenant Bora escorted Torvax back to his shuttle. As he walked through the corridors, he saw the human crew with new eyes. These were not monsters. These were not enemies. These were people who had been wronged by the Council and had still chosen to help. He felt something he had not felt in a very long time. Shame. The Council had been wrong about humanity. The Council had been wrong about many things. And now the entire galaxy might pay the price for those mistakes. As his shuttle launched from the human ship, Torvax made a decision. He would tell the Council the truth. All of it. He would fight for the Alliance. He would fight for change. Because if the humans could forgive 800 years of injustice, maybe the Council could learn to do the right thing too. It was their last chance. The Council chambers had never been so full. Representatives from every species in the galaxy had come to hear Ambassador Torvax's report. The holographic hall buzzed with nervous conversation. Everyone knew that something important had happened. Everyone was afraid of what they might learn. Torvax stood at the center of the chamber. He looked older than he had before the mission. The weight of what he knew pressed down on his shoulders like a physical burden. He had not slept since returning from the human fleet. He had spent every hour preparing his report, choosing his words carefully. High Arbiter Malox called for silence. The chamber grew quiet. All eyes turned to Torvax. "I have met with the humans," Torvax began. "I have seen their fleet. I have spoken with their commander. and I must tell you things that will change everything you believe about our galaxy." He activated the holographic display and showed them the Devourer swarm. He explained what the humans had discovered. He described the threat that was coming. He told them about the 40 years they had left to prepare. The chamber erupted into chaos. Representative Vreth screamed that it was a trick. High Arbiter Malox demanded proof. Others simply sat in stunned silence, unable to process what they were hearing. Only Counselor Yenix remained calm. She had lived long enough to know that the universe was full of terrible surprises. "This is a human lie," Vreth shouted. "They want to frighten us into surrendering. They want to take over the council without firing a shot." "I thought the same thing at first," Torvax admitted. "So I asked to see their evidence. They gave me complete access to their sensor data. They showed me 50 years of observations. They even offered to share the technology so we could verify it ourselves. The swarm is real. It is coming, and we cannot stop it alone." The arguments continued for hours. Some species wanted to reject the human offer and prepare their own defenses. Others wanted to surrender immediately. A few suggested abandoning the galaxy entirely and fleeing to somewhere the swarm could not follow. But slowly. The Council's military had been built for small conflicts between civilized species. Their ships were designed for ceremony as much as combat. Their soldiers had been modified to reduce aggression, which also reduced their effectiveness in battle. Against a threat like the swarm, they would be helpless. Counselor Yenix finally rose to speak. The chamber fell silent. When the oldest being in the council wanted to say something, everyone listened. "For 3,000 years, we have believed that peace means control," she said. "We have taken the fire from every species that joined us. We have removed their ability to fight, to struggle, to evolve. We told ourselves we were creating paradise, but we were only creating weakness." She looked around the chamber at the representatives she had known for centuries. "I was there during the first contact with humanity. I saw what they could do. I was terrified. We all were. We thought that if we did not control them, they would destroy us. But look at what has happened instead. We locked them away in the darkness, and they grew stronger. They built a civilization that surpasses our own. They developed technology we cannot match. And when they discovered a threat that could destroy us all, they did not use it as a weapon. They came to warn us." Her ancient voice grew stronger. "The humans have shown more honor in one day than the Council has shown in 800 years. They have every reason to hate us. We tried to enslave them. We tried to destroy their world. We abandoned them to die in isolation. And yet they came to help us anyway. If that is what it means to be human, then perhaps we should learn from them instead of fearing them." The chamber was completely silent. Counselor Yenix sat down slowly, exhausted by her speech, but her words had done their work. The mood in the chamber had changed. High Arbiter Melloc spoke next. His stone body seemed somehow smaller than before. "I have been a fool," he admitted. "I wanted to destroy the humans without understanding them. I was afraid of what they represented. But Counselor Yenix is right. Fear has guided us for too long. It is time to make a different choice." The vote was held. For the first time in Council history, the result was unanimous. The Ascension Protocol would end. Every species would be free to choose their own path, and the Galactic Council would formally request an alliance with humanity. Admiral Kong. Tehuk received the news on the bridge of the Hanyul's Wrath. Captain Yuna and Dr. Minho stood beside him. Lieutenant Bora and Engineer Wujin waited nearby. The entire crew held their breath, waiting for his reaction. The Admiral read the message twice. Then he looked up at his crew with the closest thing to a smile they had ever seen on his face. "They agreed," he said simply. "It's time to get to work." The celebration was brief. There was too much to do. Human engineers began sharing technology with Council scientists. Human commanders started training Council officers in real combat tactics. Human doctors developed treatments to reverse the effects of the Ascension Protocol for those who wanted them. It was not easy. Centuries of distrust could not disappear overnight. Many Council species struggled to accept their new allies. Many humans found it difficult to forgive old wrongs, but slowly, day by day, they learned to work together. Admiral Kong addressed the combined fleets on the day they officially joined forces. Thousands of ships hung in space together, human vessels alongside council cruisers. It was the largest gathering of military power in galactic history. My ancestors refused to surrender, Taehook said. They believed that freedom was worth any price. They believed that the fire in our hearts was too precious to sacrifice. For 800 years, humanity kept that fire burning alone in the darkness. But today, we share it with you. He looked out at the endless sea of ships, human and alien, former enemies now standing together. The swarm is coming. It will be the greatest challenge any of us has ever faced. Many of us will die, but we will not die as slaves. We will not die as hollow shells of what we once were. We will die as free beings, fighting for something we believe in. And maybe, just maybe, we will win. The crews cheered. On every ship, in every species, something had changed. The fire that the Council had tried so hard to extinguish was spreading again. Hope was returning to the galaxy. Councilor. Yennex watched the ceremony from the Council headquarters on this. Tears ran down her ancient face. She had lived for thousands of years. She had seen empires rise and fall. She had made terrible mistakes and watched others make worse ones. But today, the first time in centuries, she felt hope. The humans had not come for revenge. They had not come to conquer. They had come to remind the galaxy of something it had forgotten, that the greatest strength is not the power to destroy, but the courage to protect. And that sometimes, the species you fear the most becomes the ally you need the most. The unknown fleet had sent a signal. It was human and armed. And the Galactic Council had panicked. But in the end, that panic had saved them all.